Here are the latest updates from the Pna Newsroom. The government said negotiations on the Code of Conduct in the South China Sea may resume next year. Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo said he is expecting at least 2 or 3 rounds of the talks within 2 years before claimant countries conclude with a substantive and effective code. ASEAN Secretary General Dato Paduka Lim Jakoy confirmed that China and the bloc are already working on the second draft of the COCs. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and Chinese President Xi Jinping have earlier called for the immediate conclusion of negotiations for the final and binding COC in the South China Sea, as both leaders aim to resolve the maritime disputes to help manage the differences and ease regional tensions. Both leaders also agreed the South China Sea dispute should not affect the improving relations between the Philippines and China. The Philippine National Police vows to continue to uphold the rule of law following the conviction of one of its personnel for the killing and planning of evidence in Caloocan City. PNP Chief General Rodolfo Azurin Jr. said the decision was a result of a fair, full-blown trial. He stressed that any acts committed by erring personnel do not reflect the views of the entire PNP organization. Caloocan City Police Jeffrey Perez faces conviction after being found guilty of violation of the Anti-Torture Act of 2009, as well as the planning of evidence under the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002. Perez was sentenced to reclusion perpetua or up to 40 years of imprisonment, with a 2 million pesos fine for each moral and exemplary damage to the families of the victims. Among the casualties was a 19-year-old Carl Angelo Arnaiz, who reportedly died during a shootout after allegedly robbing a taxi driver, and another minor victim whose body was found at a creek in Gapan, Nueva Ecija, with at least 28 stab wounds and his head wrapped in packing tape and a shirt. Meanwhile, the PNP now ensures it is resorting to a more holistic approach against criminality with the help of the church and the community through its Kasimbayanan program. The Philippine Statistics Authority has printed more than 2 million e-Phil IDs, the digital equivalent of the Phil ID or National ID. The printed e-Phil IDs were issued while the rollout of the plastic ID cards is ongoing. The PSA aimed to distribute 20 million digital IDs and deliver 30 million physical ID cards by the end of the year, leading to a total of 15 million national IDs. The PSA assured that the digital and printed e-Phil IDs will be eligible for government, private, and financial transactions. The agency stressed that the printed digital IDs were still as good as physical plastic ones. The World Bank has taken note of the Philippines' efforts to reduce poverty and inequality. Its latest data show that poverty rate in the Philippines fell from 49.2% in 1985 to 16.7% in 2018. It said the middle class had expanded to nearly 12 million by 2018 and 44 million are deemed economically secure. It cited the expansion of jobs outside the agriculture sector along with high growth rates. The World Bank also reported efforts to reduce inequality, such as the expansion of secondary education, mobility to better paying jobs, access to basic services, and government social assistance. However, inequality remains high as the top 1% of earners hold 17% of the national income, while only 14% is shared by the bottom 50% of earners. The report said that policies to reduce inequality can focus on healing the pandemic's scars and building resilience, setting the stage for a vibrant and inclusive recovery, and promoting greater equality of opportunity. That's the latest and the biggest stories from the Pna Newsroom. For more news content, visit our webpage or head on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. We're also shown on the social media pages of the Office of the Press Secretary and Radyo Pilipinas RP1. Stay tuned for more news updates. I'm Stephanie Savaliano. We tell stories that inspire change.